You have to hold yourself accountable. You are the only one who is responsible for bettering your life. No one is going to do it for you. Hi guys, it's JT here and welcome to the JT Leadership Podcast, brought to you by PMG, a podcast where I take everyday leadership challenges, simplify them and provide you with the tools, all for one outcome, to create a positive impact in your life. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing the one thing that you can do right now, so starting right now, that will change your life, change your career, change your relationship. Whatever you want to do, you can do it, but you have to do this one thing. So without further ado, let's get into Season 1, Episode 10, The Power of Taking the Lead. And always, to break down this complex point and simplify it, I'm going to be answering the following two questions. Question 1. What is taking the lead and why is it so important? And then question 2, how can you start to take the lead right now? I will be sharing with you one tool that you can do from today and it will make a difference in your life. So what exactly is it? So taking the lead essentially is taking action. Far too often I've come across people, colleagues, family, friends, people who say that they want to do something. And then 5 years later, they're still saying that they want to do it. And then 10 years later, they're saying they want to do it. And then 15 years later, they're saying, I wish I did that. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to look at yourself honestly and answer this. Do you want to be in that position? Do you want to waste another 10 years of your life and then look back and say, I wish I did that? Or do you want to look back and say, I'm happy that I did it? That is what taking the lead is. It is the conscious decision to go on and change the situation that you're in. Whether this is your career, whether it's everything I've been discussing in this season about how to change your behaviors as a leader, whether it's changing your behaviors towards your relationships, or changing your behavior about how are you going to approach a situation. I was fortunate enough to come across this realization a couple of years ago, but it wasn't always like that. I spent years of my life looking on Instagram, on Facebook, reading other people's books, watching videos thinking, oh, I wish I did that. I wish I did that. 5 years ago, I never would have imagined myself standing in front of a microphone, recording a podcast, sharing this value with you guys. So that is why taking the lead is so important. It can take us from where we are to where we want to be. 5 years ago, I would never imagine stood here. But now I've set up my own business. I've written and published my own book. I've recorded and published this season of podcasts. I have been blogging consistently now for over 6 months. And what are the benefits it brings me? It brings me direction in life. It gives me purpose. It has increased the happiness in my life. I am fulfilling my desire for growth, whether this be in all aspects of my life. My mental state, my physical state, my career, my business, my relationships, everything. Everything that's good that's happening to me now is because I decided to take the lead. I decided to implement the behaviors that I've been discussing and utilize them in my life today. In my book, I make this statement. Do not just read my book to just read a book. Read this book with the intention to implement something and make a difference in your life. And that is what taking the lead is. And why is it so important? It brings about benefits and change, all for a positive outcome in our life. So how exactly do you go about it? There are so many videos and motivational videos and blogs and talks of people saying, just go and do it. You have to just take action. You have to do it. But what does that mean? How do you go about doing something if you've never done it? So I want to share with you one tool, and this tool has made a massive difference on my life. And this is what I call the 3 A's. But before I break down what the 3 A's are, I want to tell you a story about how I got to the 3 A's. So I'm going to take you quite a bit back in my life. I'm going to go back to school. Now, I was in English class. I was never really that great at English. I didn't really get amazing grades for my English exams. I went to a school where we was taught enough to pass the exam. And that's about it. We was never really pushed to our limits, pushed beyond our boundaries. We was never encouraged to be creative. We was encouraged to do enough to pass the exams. I went on to college and also started working at the age of 16, 17. No different. The working world encouraged you to follow rules. College encouraged you to do enough to pass the exams. As I've gone through my career, creativity is limited because you are encouraged to follow rules. So how did I get from there to where I am today? Well, I think I mentioned it earlier in the season where I was convinced to go to a seminar held by Dr. Rowe, a fantastic human being. He started to get me to think not from my head, but from my heart. I believe I mentioned this in episode 6, the power of presence and authenticity. When I began to align with who I was as a person, I started to see direction. I started to see the path of what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to get there. I felt like I had all this information, this value, this knowledge to share with the world, but I didn't know the right way to get it out. So I decided to start writing. Never thought I could write a book in my life. I just thought I'm going to start writing and break it down, simplifying it, just like I'm doing here on this podcast. Simplifying it and see if do what I feel that I can do. After a couple of weeks, I started to see that actually I was building a lot of value and content here. Something that spans beyond just typical leadership. These are tools and valuable information that has changed my life. So I decided I'm going to write a book. Now, for someone who was terrible at English, didn't feel that I was creative enough to even write a book and let alone publish it, the fear of publishing it was holding me back. So with everything that I do, I simplified it and I broke down, okay, how can I move forward? And that's when I developed the 3 A's. So the 3 A's stand for attention, affirmation, and action. And this made a huge difference in my life, and I know it can make a huge difference in yours. So let's start with attention. When I decided to write my book, I brought attention to the issue. I started with self-awareness. I looked at myself and said, what do I need to change? What do I need to do to make a difference and start moving forward? I brought attention to the issue. Studies show that to implement change, if you create a panic around a situation, it will encourage you and urge you to want to change it. So that's what I did, and that's what attention is. Create panic around a situation. I brought attention to the issue that I was not happy with what I was doing and I needed to change something. And the best way to do that was by writing a book. So then I affirmated. I said, I'm going to do this. I am going to write this book in 3 months. And I did. It took me 3.5 months because I didn't factor in editing, getting proofreading, designing a cover, something I haven't even thought about. I made a statement to myself and I did it to my wife. I said, I'm going to do this. And then I did it. I took action. I broke the steps down. Now, I'm not going to go into how to create the perfect action plan here, but that's what I did. I created an action plan. I said, okay, how can I simplify this even further? Break it down so simple and manageable. That is why the 3 A's work so well. It's simple. It creates panic and urgency that there's a need for change. It provides us with a tool to make ourselves accountable. And then with that accountability, forces us to take action. So here are some key behaviors that you need to make this work. The first one, be open. I said the starting point is self-awareness. Be open with yourself. Commitment. So going back to episode 2, the power of adaptability. Commit yourself to wanting to better your life, your relationship, your career, your behaviors, whatever your situation. Commit to wanting to make a positive impact on your life. Belief in yourself is so powerful. I had all these beliefs that were ingrained into me that I wasn't good enough to write a book because I wasn't good in English. I can tell you now that my grammar is terrible, but my wife is fantastic. So I gave my book to her and asked her to proofread it. I'll be honest, there was a lot of red lines and changed words. Which brings me on to probably the most important part. You have to hold yourself accountable. You are the only one who is responsible for bettering your life. No one is going to do it for you. You have to take action and be accountable for your actions. If you fail, start again. Bring attention to the issue. Affirmate how you're going to solve it and then take action. Do it again and again, every day, just aiming to better yourself that little bit. I hope the 3 A's work as well as for you as they have done for me. As always, I want to do a quick summary. Question 1, what is taking the lead and why is it so important? And then question 2, how to take the lead. So we've answered those questions. Everyone can take the lead of their life. Everybody can be a leader. However, you just need to make a choice. Do you want to behave like a leader or not? Do you want to take action or not? Do you want to lead your life for the better or not? The choice is yours. And then question 2, how to take the lead. So I shared with you the tool of the 3 A's and how they work for me in my life. I'm going from a position of being afraid to write a book to writing and publishing a book. So before I conclude this season, I would like to leave you with a few words. Studies suggest that approximately 800 million jobs are at risk because we are now in a knowledge society where our intangible skills and benefits are required. Companies, people need leaders. They need you to take a step up and become a leader. Leaders are in demand, but it is up to you what you do with this information. You can make the decision to listen to your heart and adapt, exhibit the right behaviors and use your experience, or you can decide to not change anything. This episode was all about taking action. When we take action, we go from where we are now to where we want to be. We are moving closer, ever closer to that dream, that goal, that vision. I urge you to take action. That was such an incredible episode. I was so excited doing that episode. I'm moving around, animated. I just love doing that episode about taking action and actually doing something. This entire season has been around the behaviors of a leader and what the core areas are. I hope that the information that I've shared with you has brought value to you and that you can take that information and go on and implement it into your life. Now, if you want to learn more about how you can change your life and take your life from where you are now to where you want to be, so stop managing your life and start leading your life, then go and buy my book. It's called Managers Are Not Leaders and it's available on Amazon as an ebook and a paperback. There are a lot more tools and value that I've been in that book that I've been able to share with you in this podcast. And as everything I've discussed, it's broken down very complex behaviors and simplified them, providing you with the basic tools you need to start leading your life now. So log on to Amazon, search for Managers Are Not Leaders, add it to your basket and click buy. I know it will help you and make a positive impact in your life. I feel privileged that you have taken your time to listen to episode 10 of the JT Leadership Podcast, the power of taking the lead. Click subscribe so you don't miss out on season 2, the importance of mental well-being. So this season is all about how to become mentally resilient. I can't wait to speak to you again in season 2. Thank you very much for listening. This is JT signing out.